Citibank has made a disastrous error that has cost them $500 million. It's an amazing story of an error that was made by employees who were outsourced. And a federal judge has actually ruled against Citibank. So we'll see how this plays out for them because they plan on appealing. But Citibank was acting as an agent for Revlon, which owed hundreds of millions of dollars to various creditors. On August 11th of last year, Citibank was supposed to send out interest payments totaling $7.8 million to Revlon's creditors. However, Revlon was in the process of refinancing its debt, paying off a few creditors while rolling the rest of its debt into a new loan. And this, combined with a confusing interface and financial software called FlexCube, led to the bank accidentally paying back the principal on the entire loan, guys, on the entire loan, most of which wasn't even due until 2023. So what, again, they were supposed to make an interest payment of $7.8 million. Guess how much they ended up paying? $900 million. Amazing.
Oops.
So it was an error, like maybe they can fix it, what can happen? So the actual work of entering in the transaction into FlexCube fell to a subcontractor in India. Okay, so they make the mistake, but remember, when it comes to these large transactions, it's not like one rando person can just do it without others signing off on it. So this employee in India did it, but before he did it, there was another employee he works with, a colleague who signed off on it, and then the third person to sign off on it was a Citibank employee in Delaware, the United States, obviously. And so Citibank then scrambled to get its funds back, notifying each creditor that the principal payments had been made by mistake. Some of the creditors sent the money back, but others refused, leaving Citibank out $500 million. So the creditors that refused to return the money cited the fact that they were having issues with Revlon, and Revlon wasn't being very reliable in paying back its loans, okay? And so they were really concerned that they would never get their money back. So Citibank makes this mistake and the creditors are like, no. This is the principal that Revlon owed and we're keeping the money. So Citibank sued, arguing that it was entitled to get the money back since the cash was sent out by mistake. Under New York law, someone who sends out an enormous wire transfer, for example, sending a payment to the wrong account, is entitled to get the money back. However, there is a loophole. But the law makes an exception when a debtor accidentally wires money to a creditor. Usually it's normal people, normies like us that get screwed over by this loophole. But in this case, it's Citibank. If the creditor doesn't have prior knowledge the payment was a mistake, it's free to treat it as a repayment of the loan. And so, Cenk, a federal judge ruled on this and was like, yeah, I mean, the law is the law, and based on the way it's written, these creditors can definitely keep the money that was paid to them by Citibank. Judge Jesse Furman said this, to believe that Citibank, one of the most sophisticated financial institutions in the world, had made a mistake that had never happened before to the tune of nearly $1 billion would have been borderline irrational.
So let me explain exactly what he means by that. He's like, look, the creditors that got paid the money back, they assumed that they had actually been paid back their money, and they acted upon that belief and already dispersed the money to whatever other things that they're doing. Wink. Anyway, and so and they have every right to do that because they would think, could Citibank really make $1 billion mistake? Probably not. So they relied on that information to act. Now, guys, be careful. If the government sends you money, and I remember this, my dad's such a great guy. You should check out his book on shoptyt.com. But I remember when I was a kid, the government actually wired my dad a huge amount of money by mistake because he was working on a military base that was in our county in New Jersey with some contract, right? And he sent it back right away. I was like, and I remember as a kid, I was like, Dad, you sure? That's a lot of money, right? And they sent it to you. What are you gonna do, right? And of course, him being a way better person than me, he's like, one, it's the right thing to do. And two, if the government sends you money and you spend it and then they realize their mistake and they come looking for it, you'll get arrested. Well, you say, well, that's not fair. You sent it to me. No, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get arrested, okay? And in the case of private companies, they'll crack down on you big time too if they make a mistake. But in this case, Anna is so right, and this is what I love about the story. Normally they use this law to go, hey man, you shouldn't have done it. Now Citibank gets to keep your money, but it happened to Citibank instead.
Yes.
Oh, my 10-year-old, yeah.
This happened to me once, right? But not as obviously not as disastrous, not even close. Like every once in a while, if like off one of the side freelance things I do, I make a little bit of money. I like to try to pay like my mortgage, the principal specifically, down so I don't pay so much in interest by the time the length of the mortgage is over, right? So I made the mistake of making a payment without clicking off the interest part. So I ended up making a giant interest payment, which was like, I was furious about it. Called them and was like, I made a mistake, can you guys reverse it? And they said no. And this is why, like that, so the way the law is written.
My 10-year-old son now, if somebody's having a pity party, he starts singing, how could this happen to me? Okay, so that's what I want to sing that to Citibank right now. How could this happen to me? Sad day for you, brother. That you're out $500 million. Hey, by the way, they outsourced the job. Oops. And now every mistake we've ever made at TYT, I feel way better about. At least we never made a $500 million mistake. It reminds, in fact, in the post game for the members, I'll tell you a hilarious story about when I was in Miami. And how that affected this story. So you guys are gonna love it. tyt.com/join or hit the join button below on YouTube. And there's actually 2 more comments from you guys that I absolutely love too.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.